Welcome everyone, this is Zanta with Rebar Products. Today's video is on what's new in Revit 2022. This video is strictly the PowerPoint presentation only. There is a long laundry list of new updates and features in this software version, and I'm going to pick and choose some of the best to make individual videos of the actual software so you can see them in play. So for this particular presentation video, it's strictly just the PowerPoint presentation. There is a host of videos that Autodesk also has provided to me, and I need to double check to see if I'm allowed to use them on my YouTube channel so that I don't actually have to make all of the videos. I'm going to make a good handful of them and just the ones that I think are really worth showcasing. But in any event, today's video is strictly on the PowerPoint presentation of what's new in Revit 2022. The way the PowerPoint presentation is set up with all the features is going to be categorized into design productivity, interoperability, documentation efficiency, and developer tools. This is the first page of the list of updates and features. There's a lot, and that's just under design productivity. Then under interoperability, you have this list under documentation efficiency and then developer tools as well. So as you can see, there's a long list. We're going to jump straight into the presentation. For design productivity, first one is wall enhancements. We have tapered walls now. So 2021 gave us slanted walls. We now have tapered walls. And this one gives you specific sloping angles that you can specify for interior and exterior surfaces. You can override the slope type properties at the instance level, and you can edit the profile for slanted walls as well. You have enhanced RCPs in realistic view, so you can display complex geometries, physical based materials, and lighting. They have a billboard mode that orients the RPCs towards the camera. You can use RPC for furniture category, and the expanded RCP asset library is now visible. You have generative design enhancements, so then I have created some new sample study types for you to explore and work with. You can save the default settings. They have a drop-down input functionality. They have constant and variable inputs as well for specific types of generative design studies, and then you can manage the study type folders as well. You have a routing analysis tool. So this used to be a preview kit in 2021, and now it is fully baked. So you've got People Flow Toolkit, and I actually created a video on this already on my YouTube channel, so you can watch this by just searching. You've got visualizing multiple paths, you have one-way indicators, you have placement elements that have clearances, you can do spatial grid layouts for the rooms as well. You have enabling modeling capabilities for bridge and road categories for infrastructure enhancements now. You have alignment station enhancements as well for adding prefix and suffixes to alignment station text, adding clip controls, and expose true start and end stations in the API. You have renaming the default shared site can be renamed to something less confusing. You have fabrication improvements, design to fabrication, fabrication modeling, reloading configuration performance, and configuration behavior improvements as well. I do remember seeing a specific video on this from Autodesk. So you have systems analysis updates, so that you have systems analysis load and psychometric reporting is now visible directly inside Revit, and you can see that room and space mode for systems analysis. You have new family categories for equipment and building elements as well. So they've added audiovisual devices, fire protection, food service equipment, and so on. You can assign generic models to specific categories for control visual display. You can expand the category list for multi-category tag schedules and material takeoffs. So there's a long laundry list here for the categories. You have rebar. You can move a rebar within a set and still maintain that logic. You can even remove it as well, and you can edit multiple sets and systems at the same time. You can model the rebar using the real bar diameter, not just the bar diameter. So you have model bar diameter and you have bar diameter. And so it'll help you with avoiding clashes when you're dealing with so much rebar inside an element. You can actually place a rebar by two-point method now. So picking two opposing corners will give you that area to work with, and it automatically generates the rebar in that area. So should be interesting to see. You can select the shape code for custom bent freeform rebar as well, so they have drop down, and you can preserve the engineering rebar definition. You can it remembers, by the way, the settings for when you're placing rebar now, because I remember when I was working with some rebar commands in the past, it would not remember my settings and I have to re-specify that data. You don't need to do that anymore. You have rebar performance improvements for zooming and panning into 2D views at a final level of detail. You can see much better now, and it regenerates the views containing the rebars quicker. You have associated steel connections with profile sizes within the Dynamo player as well. You can create a library of steel connections, and their correct types are inserted in accordance with the range of applicability. You have category list sorting improvements as well, so you can consistently alphabetize the sorting order for schedule properties and material takeoff properties as well. You have improved parameter identification, so you can now search by parameter name, and you can also filter as well when you're looking at, say, a schedule properties window, so that you're trying to build a schedule. You have load Autodesk family now, so this used to be a tech preview and now it's baked into 22, so you have a nice window interface that will show you all of your families, all of the categories. You can filter and sort, you can search, you can drag and drop, you can load it into the project quickly and easily as well. You have little enhancements like it remembering your settings under options when you're doing specific commands like mirror or offset or align, and then under appearance as well for your material browser dialog box. So it remembers a lot of content, whereas before it wouldn't remember. Other small enhancements, being able to resize a lot more dialog boxes, such as your transfer project standards, sync to central, purging, wall sweeps, and so on. For interoperability enhancements, you have native 2D PDF exporting now, which is really nice. You can actually export your data as 2D PDF sheets. You can set up a naming rule for the exporting. You can generate the PDF file names automatically from the project or shared parameter, and it automatically detects the size and the orientation for you. If you're working with Rhino files, you now can bring Rhino files into Revit as a CAD file, and you can preserve and control those layers via visibility graphics dialog box, and it actually snaps to the geometry as well. You have 3D Sketch and Send to Revit with Format Pro, a new command. So you can actually take Revit geometry into Format using this command. You can take Format geometry into Revit to preserve all the materials and layers as well. And you can control the Format layers via the Visibility Graphics dialog box. You can import Format as a CAD file. You're importing the AXM files with all the materials, layers, and group definitions. You can control all of that within the Visibility Graphics dialog box, and the performance is much faster. We now have IFC4 certification as well. So when you are exporting to IFC, you'll see in the drop-down list, it goes all the way down to IFC4. You now have additional stronger functionality for linking inventor assemblies as Revit models, and the nameable reference geometry, and then persistent tags for direct shapes. So if you are using Revit to Inventor and Inventor to Revit workflow, they have enhanced it to make it better. You have 2D shared views as well. So now you can actually take your content in Revit, share it out as a 2D view to whomever you want. That person, recipient, will look at it in the viewer.autodesk.com. They can look at it, zoom in and out, mark it all up, save it, and then you can directly see the response and comments within Revit right away. You have cloud modeling improvements, so now you can open the cloud model from the file menu as well. It has unified cloud model initiation. It has access to Autodesk docs. So in 2021, in the Revit Home, you had recent files and you had BIM 360, and now they've switched it to Autodesk docs. For documentation efficiency improvements, they have enabling scheduling of work sets now. So for those of you who are constantly using work sets and you need to set up a schedule based upon work sets, you can filter and schedule by work sets. They have it under material takeoffs, view lists, sheet lists, and title blocks as well. They have shared parameters within key schedules. They have filter schedule by family and type, and they have split schedules across sheets finally. Exporting schedules to CSV by default is now available. So before it was just TXT, and now you can export to CSV comma separated value, and hopefully it should retain all of the data and the formatting. It also supports drone and total station file type inputs as well. We have multiple values indication as well now, so when you're picking more than one piece of geometry and you look at the properties panel, depending on what data you're going to see in there, it'll say varies, and you can display the desired text in the properties palette when a cell elements is selected with varying parameter values. You can apply multiple value indication to all types of schedules and customize the indication value as well. Tag improvements, so now you can actually specify any angle you want for your tags. So if you look at the properties panel of the tag, it has an angle parameter. Makes a lot of sense. You can actually have multi-leader tags, and tag curtain wall mullions as well is new. This kind of makes sense, being able to do multi-leader tags. Say for example a wall tag, you just wanted to say W1 and you have 3 separate leader lines going to 3 separate walls instead of having 3 separate wall tags. It's just kind of logical. You have multi-category tag for all taggable categories as well. So in the command tag all not tagged, it shows up as well. You can use shared parameters in multi-category tags, and you have additional categories that include stair subcategories, structural connections, structural internal loads, and so on. You have link tag rehosting as well. So the tags in the host model attached to elements in a linked model will now remember the linked element ID. Unloaded or out-of-date links will reattach orphan tags automatically when reloaded. You have dimensional prefix and suffix as type parameters. Primary and alternative unit parameters have been reorganized as well. So if you look at the type properties window, under primary units and under alternate units, you can specify the dimension prefix or suffix and alternate units prefix and suffix as well. Revisioning numbering has been updated so that you can actually create custom revision sequencing. It meets ISO 19650 or local standards. It has a prefix or suffix addition to denote a project stage. You have share using the transfer project standards tool as well. Now you also have the command for spot slope and elevations are now functioning for ramps. So prior to 22, it wouldn't register that data and give you that data. You can now get that data out, and you can actually tag it in plans, elevation sections, and 3D views. If you need to, you also can check a box within the visibility graphics dialog box within your walls subcategory, and there's a spot that says non-core layers. You can uncheck it so you don't see those. And so depending on what you're designing, you may need to kind of use that tool or not. You now have the ability to see your grids, structural column grids in 3D, and see them, touch them, and manipulate them as well, which is a logical evolution to be able to see the levels as well that's in 3D. So now that they did that for levels, now they're doing it for grids. You have phase parameters in view filters, so it supports phases. Easily locate elements and understand their phases in your model. 2 new filter rules, phase created and phase demolished. They have improved the default color fill scheme as well to make the colors a lighter pastel colors, so it doesn't conflict with the data that's being shown in the Revit model. And you don't actually have to manually adjust the colors if you don't need to. It just makes it a little faster and easier to work with. You have the ability to select more than one row of category of data in the visibility graphics dialog box to affect the changes. So instead of going one category at a time, you can actually pick more than one row. Preserving callouts when deleting parent views, so you can switch between parent view and intersecting views. Callouts in intersecting views are visible. Delete parent view and preserve the callouts if you need to. Hide the callouts at scales coarser than the size in the view as well. So this should be interesting to take a look at and see how it affects the collaboration efforts and whether information is being coordinated properly or not. Maintaining annotation orientation is now added to additional categories such as electrical equipment, generic models, light fixtures, and so on. So depending on how you're looking at your data and what view you're in, the orientation, annotation orientation is a feature within the family editor environment when you're looking at a family. You have fixes to MEP documentation such as improving offset tags, riser symbols, vertical pipe tags, single line improvements, nested families, and pinned elements. Auto shading in 2-column panel schedules, so it reduces the quantity of templates required. You can enable auto shading in a panel schedule template, easier project template management, and unused phase columns are shaded automatically. Lastly, under the developer tools, we have Dynamo nodes for Revit documentation. They've added 67 more requests for nodes. A wide range of categories have been introduced as well: annotation nodes, sheet nodes, view nodes, and so on. Dynamo for Revit 2.10 is included in Revit 2022. And then lastly, you have Sketch API, Viewport Label on Sheet API, Color Fill API, Cloud Model Initiate and Link API, API for mapping cloud models with Autodesk Docs, and Point Cloud API is now visible for the developers. And so as you can see, this is a laundry list of updates and features in Revit 2022. I will make individual videos of some of the newer features that looks really fun and interesting to experiment and play with. I will not be making a video of every single new feature. There are some videos already by Autodesk that showcases some of the new features, and I'm going to see if I can get approval to use them on my channel before I push them out. That way I won't have to make so many. But in any event, I do want to say thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, just reach out to me. Thank you very much for watching.